What's up, y'all? We are back with another design critique. I told you guys to send in more stuff, and you did. So thanks for sending in your work. I'm gonna do a little bit different this time. And at the very end, I'm gonna announce a winner. And what that just means is my favorite graphic of the video. Now, this is not a competition, and that's not what this is really about. It's just about like talking through the designs and what I like and don't like, and maybe what I would tweak. But at the very end, I just think it'll be cool to put up my favorite graphic of the video. I hope you guys enjoy that. If you all hate that idea, put it in the comments and let me know, and maybe I'll change back to what I was doing. We got a lot of good ones this time, so it's gonna be tough, but let's go ahead and get into it, man. Real quick, if you want your designs critiqued, send them to this email and I'll try to get to all of them. If you put in the email that you're a patron, your graphics will get prioritized, and make sure you put like your design name or your name or something in there that you want me to call you in the video. Let's get into it. All right, so first off, we have Charles Sherer or Sherer or Chuck Sherer. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, Charles. All right, so we have a basketball poster. We have Ant-Man walking through the city. Actually, that's kind of funny. I think they call him Ant-Man sometimes, but he kind of like looks like that in this video because Ant-Man gets huge sometimes. I just really nerded out there. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is pretty sick. I like what you did here, putting him above the city and in the city. I think like the cutting out looks good. It looks sharp. It looks like he's there for the most part. I mean, yeah, I can't get too picky with that. Everything looks pretty good there. I'll be honest, at this point in my design career, I don't like love when people put their signatures and stuff on the graphic, but that's just, you know, it's whatever you want to do. The interesting like design elements, I guess, that you have are this circle around him and then these two like mirrored blurred effects on the clouds over here. And it's very like asymmetrical and just makes you think like, why that? What made this pop into your brain? Did you have like inspiration from another graphic or something? You know, I think it looks good. The circle thing around him, you know, I guess that works. These things, again, as design elements, I guess they work as well. If I was gonna do some of this stuff, I might just like balance out the graphic with it. But again, you don't always have to balance everything out. And, you know, the next person might say it looks great as is, and that's exactly how they would have done it. I like the two border things that you have. They look cool, with the believe that, and then the line, the logo lockup. That looks good. And then these color marks up at the top right corner. I think like, so if it were me, just looking at it to simplify it, first off, the logo, I don't know that I would put it behind his head. Like, I think it like, I like what you were going for with like it like being behind him and like the shadow on it like from him, but I think it would just look cleaner if it was somewhere else. Honestly, maybe small and at the bottom, or not even on there at all. But like if I was just gonna do this how I thought you should do it, I would probably remove these border things, remove this circle or ellipse, and remove these two circles, and just like let it be him in the city with this believe that logo lock up like in the corner up here, and then maybe these three like colors either where you have them or like maybe a little bit lower or like away from the border some. I don't know, I'd have to feel it out because most of the time you don't want stuff like touching the border, but with these three like color blocks it kind of works, because I think that's kind of what they're meant for. So again, I'd probably just remove the border things, remove the name, and then these like circles and stuff. But other than that, it looks great. Like the layout is good. It looks, you know, like the color is nice. It doesn't just look like messy and gross like some graphics. So moving on, this is pretty sick too. Yeah, I think the layout is good. I like what you did with like the, I guess like radial blur it looks like on the whole thing. Even got some birds going up through here, it looks like. Yeah, the layout looks good. The blur around the whole thing is just like, you know, a preference thing. Like, I like it. I think maybe I would not have it quite as strong on his name. I mean, I think it works on the name and his signature. Maybe not so much on this like logo lockup thing up here. Like, I probably would have made that more legible and just like clear. But I like the effect that you did with like you put these like rainbow lens flares and you made sort of like a 3D like rainbow look on some of these pieces, which looks nice together. But as far as like the layout, the graphic style, the crispiness of the cutouts, and like just the photo editing, I think it all looks pretty good. So not too much to critique. Maybe I'd move his head up or down a little bit so that it's either like fully on the graphic or like, you know, fully cut off up there. If I'm getting like picky, I might just make the front cutout smaller. And that's about it. I think you did a good job there. This one looks good as well. Right off the bat, this graphic looks like very clean and nice, and the colors like all match. So the thing that bothers me, and again, like a lot of stuff I'm just getting picky on, because like most of everything is good. Your layout's pretty good, composition's pretty good, but I would probably switch these two. Like, I would either have all different uniforms or have all the same uniforms. And in this graphic, since all the coloring is so nice and like looks, it's a lot of the same colors and it just like matches everything well, I'd probably just match and go all gray. I mean, you could do all white, but you know, I would just match the two gray cutouts that you have. Because I feel like right now the three cutouts look a little bit different just in like colors, and then it might just be the white that's messing with me. I mean, it looks like a baseball card, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I love the like square texture in the background, but if it was like on a card, it would make sense. It's kind of hard to describe why. I guess just it's not like a texture or background that like I would use necessarily, unless it was like for a specific purpose. But I think it works with what you're doing. I think this would be like a pretty clean like baseball card. I might would like have him standing fully on the white and make him smaller, because he could be a little bit smaller because they're all like, they're different sizes, but there could be a little more contrast between the sizes of the cutouts. And then like you could make him not step on this triangle piece. And this is a thing that like varies from designer to designer, but just like when you have this sort of frame that you have them in, I think his head being outside the frame works, but sometimes it bothers me when like they're stepping on the ground and that's outside the frame, because you almost like want it to be like the white is behind the blue. That's kind of what it feels like. So when he's stepping on that line and on the blue, it's like messing with like the layers in my mind, if that makes sense. Again, I'm being super picky, so you know, don't let this be too hard on you. Again, with like the edge of the designs, I probably wouldn't put his hat like so close to the edge. I would give it like a little more space, like here. I mean, even more. Like the space between the W and the edge right here is pretty good. Or cut it off completely, like cut off like, you know, like a top sliver that makes it pretty obvious. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. This one I love. This one's like, it's just super nice looking. I love the pink. I don't know, I always see baseball graphics with like this pink look and like flowers and stuff, and they just always look good to me, and I should make one, but I haven't. But yeah, I like what you did here with like the blurry flowers up top and this color bar on the edge, or like pink like gradient bar. I think that works. It looks like it's like not full opacity, but I would probably just make that full opacity because it kind of looks like this flower's like fading through a little bit. Yeah, because it looks like it's supposed to be in front of the flower. Usually though, if you have something like these flowers that are really close to frame and they're blurry like you have them, you don't really want a border. Like I would maybe put this bar on the other side or put the flowers on the other side, if that makes sense. I like what you did with the square and like this like square of like sky background. I love that. That looks sick behind him. Like you like framed him up super well. His name's kind of hard to read in the logo, so I'd maybe make that a little more pertinent. Is that the right word? I don't know. And then I think I'd like find a better way to put these branches in, like make them be coming from behind him or something. Like if you just turned this one a little bit, then it would look like the branch is coming out this way and then like sort of growing out around him. And then I would try and do that with the rest of these, or like right here, like just remove this fat edge of the branch down here and then remove like this edge of the branch down here. And maybe make them like, give them depth by putting some behind him and some in front of him. Kind of like you did right here, I think it looks like. I would do the same thing here. It almost looks like that, but like not fully. I think this leaf maybe is in front of his foot. But yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, last thing. I think you didn't need the shadows, or the one shadow behind him, like his cutout shadow back here, because these shadows look really good. Like I like what you did with like the shadow here and then his 2 foot shadows. So I would just remove this shadow back here, because you kind of usually have to go one way or the other. Like you put the shadows under him, or you put like the drop shadow that is like his cutout going one way or the other. So yeah, I would just take out probably that like cutout shadow that you have behind him. Everything else looks good. I would just move the logos away from the edge again, because you just don't want stuff like super close to the edge. A rule of thumb that I just heard was if you can't fit another like logo of that same size beside it, then it's probably too close to the edge. Here, this one's pretty wide, so like it's not that doesn't always work, but like with this LV, that's a good rule of thumb. Like if you can't fit another LV like right next to it and under it, it might be too close. I don't know. I think the LV is pretty good, like it's pretty close, but this one, the wing is a little bit too close to the edge. All right, so thanks Charles for sending those in, and we'll move on to the next one. Jackson Arnold. He's only got one that he sent in. Also, I'm probably not going to be able to always do all of your graphics, so when people start sending in a bunch, make sure you like prioritize the ones that you want, because they're not always going to get on the video. Let's see. Oh, so okay, so is Jackson Arnold, I guess, the guy's name that's on the graphic? That's what it looks like. Because so I don't know your name. I think all I saw was Jackson Arnold in the email that you sent, but let me know the next time. I think the layout of this is pretty good. I don't know if I love the like red color on all of him. There's kind of like this like pinkish red that's just like all over this side, and I kind of just don't like that. I would make him like either black and white or regular color and give him like a glow around the edge, but it kind of just looks like all of him is sort of like this peachy pink color. So, and that kind of makes it look a little bit messy to me, but that's something I would change. I like the nameplate thing you have up here and the drop shadow. The Boomer Sooner thing across the top, I think that works. It's close to the edge, but you know, sometimes you can get away with that. Like those color blocks I was talking about earlier, like this logo lock up right here, I think that's like belongs close to the edge. Maybe his name right here in this piece could like move a little bit inside. I don't like love his head right here. Like I would probably just remove that and just put like what you have, Jackson Arnold, and then make this text a little more like vertical up and down. And then I'd probably just take out this logo that you have faded behind his name. I don't think you need that back there because you already have it down here, and it just kind of muddies it up a little bit, I think. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I like the cutouts that you have. If you remove his head here, I think 3 works. Maybe you could make one of them a little bit smaller. But yeah. Thanks, not Jackson Arnold, but whatever your name is, for sending those in. Ben Points. I've been scoring points. That was terrible. But cool name though. Let's see. Family, game day. Da-da-da-da-do. Okay, so I don't think you necessarily need everything, like all the words so spaced out. Like, I think all this could be a little bit tighter together. Honestly, probably all the text in this graphic should just be like the same way game day is. Like all the letters could be close together. Sometimes like if you had family up here and it didn't have the dots in between it, then maybe the spacing like would work better and look better. But I think with what you have here, I'd probably just put all the text like I like the textured background. I like this like train picture thing you have back here. I'd probably make that like a little bit bigger and just like fade it a little more gradually. I'd probably also fade this picture a little more gradually and like make it bigger, make it fade again like more gradually, and maybe drop the opacity a little bit. It's just kind of a harsh transition, but it's like it's working. Like it's almost there. I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit. But everything else looks good. I think like the textures look good. Maybe the last thing is just the shadow. I would move that like under him and then fade it out a little bit more. Cause yeah, right now it's just kind of like a black blob on the ground. So I'd maybe make it just smaller, put it like right under his feet, and fade it out a little bit more. It's a little bit harsh right now. Thanks, Ben, for sending that in. Let's move to Bafe Designs, I think is your name. Rob Dillingham, Minnesota Timberwolves. This graphic is pretty sick. There's not a lot to say other than saying this graphic is pretty sick. Yeah. You just did a lot of cool stuff here. Like, I guess this is a studio photo of him that you found. I don't know, whatever you did here with this cutout in the background and like these light bars with the smoke, like whatever you did, maybe you made that. I mean, if you made that, that's pretty impressive, which I feel like I can now maybe see. I'm not even gonna act like I can fully tell. It looks edited now because you just did a good job with like the reflection and the shadows, but that looks sick. You did some like light painting on him, it looks like. But the gray and like the neon green, I just love neon green. So that looks pretty sick. Let's see. So I guess it looks like maybe some of this lighting is from his photos in the studio. I'm not sure if you painted it all on. If you did, I would tweak it some to where the lighting makes more sense on him. So like right here, this lighting's hitting here. So this lighting all makes sense, but like maybe not as much this over here. And this, I'm not sure where this is coming from. Like maybe you just brush that in. That's fine, I guess. So, but that would just like give him a rim lighting of like green versus like him just having really harsh green lighting on this side. I think it'd be a little more even. Plus these green lights in the background would probably give him like rim lighting all around. But I'm not going to say like what you have doesn't work because it looks like freaking sick. Plus I love this, like how you did the mountain in the background with the shadow and then just like put these details over here. This is what I'm talking about. So for the rest of you guys, these logos and stuff, they're spaced like well away from the edge. Like this one's the closest. Maybe you could get a little more space, but it works where it is, I think. This just looks super clean. Like it looks like a professional. It looks like something the team would post, I think. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to say about it. This one's pretty clean. I like it. Bafe Designs did a good job. All right, Naughty Designs. underscore Naughty Designs underscore. We got Liverpool versus Man City. Okay, let's see. To start off, I think it looks cool. Composition looks cool. I think you could do without like the white glow that's on the words. Like, it's a cool concept, but this up here looks kind of cleaner. It looks like a movie poster pretty much. And you know, sometimes we just get caught up trying to do cool stuff, which I do all the time, but I think this with the glow, you probably don't need it. And I think it would look cleaner and like more professional without the glow. Yeah, I mean, like, it looks cool. There's not much I would change about it. I think if you were going to change one thing, it'd be like making them look like they fit in that scene better, like coloring them and giving them highlights and stuff of like this orange volcano sort of look. But the way you have it, it still works. So like, this is doable. I would probably just put like some orange and red highlights around them, because you have like these sparks flying up and everything. So you got some like crazy like fire glow stuff coming on that like you could definitely mess with like some glow on these cutouts. But composition looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe the last thing would be like the typography like works, but I would probably move these like to be side by side, or just one on top of the other, like stacked or side by side with the verses in the middle. Like, it works how it is, and you could leave it. I just love symmetry, so it's probably something I would do. All right, Esports. Let's see. This looks pretty good. It looks like a promotional poster. Right off the bat, it looks really clean. I think like the thing that just kind of immediately makes it feel a little amateur, sorry, I just shook the camera, is all the effects that's going on with this text. Like, you have a drop shadow, it looks like 3D text kind of, and you have a black stroke on it. You just don't need that many things. Like, take off the stroke or take away the shadow. Honestly, probably most of it you could take away. Like, either like leave it 3D. It's hard to make a stroke on text like work well. Sometimes it works. I think here, not so much. So first off, I would probably just try removing the stroke and see if that works, and then go from there. This text would probably work if you switched this one like I was saying, but you could also just make that white just to make it a little bit cleaner as well, because you have a very like clean layout. Like, you have a picture in the background, you have like the trophy or whatever cup thing that is in the background, and then you have like all the cutouts and the logos and stuff, and everything's like working well. Like, even these two like helmets and their shadows are working well, I feel like. Yeah, the text is the biggest thing. Again, like, if I was going to edit this, I would like color all these guys, like put like this gold glow on them, or like some of this lighting from the arena on them, because I think that'd be sick. You could like use these two lights up here to like put lens flares like coming down through the graphic, which would make it look sick as well, and just like mess with like the coloring. But other than that, it looks good. Composition is good, I think. Thank you, Naughty Designs, for sending those in. All right, Ben Dishkin. I wish I had Ben Dishkin. I don't know if you guys play disc golf, but that was a terrible disc golf joke. All right, I don't even know what this guy's name is, but here we go. Everything's like too close to the edge, so I probably wouldn't have cut off his feet. So I'd probably move him up some. You could leave these lens flare things. They could work. I don't love them, but I would like move this text. I would kind of just shrink everything down a little bit. Like, maybe leave the lens flares, shrink the text, his cutout, make it all fit in the graph a little more. Like, it's all like too far out. The effect you have on the text, like, it could work. I think I'd like make sure the background looks like the text a little better, because it's kind of like the same vibe. but it's a little off. And just his photo, like the cutout is like not like the edges of the cutout just make it look low quality, and then plus like his his face just looks really low quality. So I would just start with a better photo. I have videos on like how to find better photos, where to find better photos, and yeah, that's gonna elevate the graphic a lot right there. And then you probably don't need this like fireball thing back here. Kind of looks like it's just like thrown in there with a filter on it. This looks cleaner. I like 3D text. I don't even know how you made that 3D text, but it looks sick. I like the chains that are coming through. That like works really well. Like the lightning, it's all right. I don't think you need that. The laser things like look cool too. That works well, I think. Like this chain though, I would move so like you can't see that it's cut off right here, because you can see that it's cut off. And then you can tell like you have a drop shadow glow on this white text that's white, but it looks like you brushed it away with a hard brush up here. So these are the details that you gotta pay attention to, because you can just tell like the glow is like has a hard cut on it. So yeah, both of these are just things that you just gotta pay more attention to the detail. Here, you have a nice glow on them. It's like cool what you did with the background stuff. I would probably put less of a shadow on their heads, because their top of their heads just looks like really dark. Yeah, I think you need to work on like the shading and lighting, because the shading you have is really harsh all around them. So, and then just like the cutouts, making sure you're cutting out like cleanly, like this right here is like a piece of him that's not cut out. And so you can double click on like these layers when you have them cut out. You can give them inner glows, inner shadows, all these things you're trying to do, and like make it very subtle. Because right now it just looks like you brushed it on and it's like very harsh. So that's what I'd fix. I think like the ground and this like light thing looks good together. So again, just messing with lighting, shading would be helpful. Again, I like 3D text. Some of this stuff works. I would take out the U. This kind of looks like more like a commitment graphic, which I'm just not a huge fan of like that sort of design style. But I think if you removed some of the lights and move this logo out, because it's just very commitment graphic style. I don't know. I don't love it, so I would just take that out. I would like move this 3D text down or something, or make him smaller so you can like see everything clearly. And then I think you tried to do a good, like what I was talking about earlier, you tried to do like a lighting thing with him and like the colors that are in the background. It's all right, but I think like you need more actual light on him. So right now, like he has this big light behind him, but he doesn't have any like rim lighting. He just kind of has like a different color brushed on him. So again, I just mess with like lighting and shading. This one's pretty clean. Yeah. There's not too much to talk about here. I think like I'd probably make the logo a little bit smaller, or maybe just put it in the corner or something instead of putting it behind him. And then also just his first like jaw more is hard to read because it's white on white. So I would make that a different color, or figure out a way to like make it a little more legible. Like here's where you could use like a stroke on text and it might work. But yeah, other than that, composition looks good. Like the cutout looks like a pretty clean cutout, so good job there. I think we have an obvious winner. I think you all probably know what I'm gonna say. So here it is. Bafe Designs. You did a great job. It looks just super clean. You know what he did here? The reason this immediately looks like a really good graphic is because the photos are super high quality. Look at this skin texture. Look at the lighting. The texture of his hair, the texture of his uniform, everything about every one of these photos, even like the studio thing that he's in with these light tubes in the background looks super high quality. Everything about this graphic just looks super high quality. And it starts with the photos. If you use bad photos, people are immediately just gonna think you're like another sports editor. So start with good photos. Another big thing, if you immediately want your graphics to stand out, use big, high quality photos like he has right here, because it's harder to tell the detail in these smaller ones. And although like you don't always want a big cutout in your graphics, the big cutouts and the high quality large photos just elevate it every time. I don't know what to tell you. It's as simple as that. Thanks y'all for sending them in. Good job, BAF Designs, and we'll see you in the next one.